This video contains shocking news about Kyurem at the end of the video, so if you don't like spoilers, then be careful. Thank you, come again.
What's up YouTube, this is ZapdosTCG and we're at episode 37, and here we'll be checking out Zekrom EX. So let's get straight to it and stop this music. Alright. So, Zekrom EX has an awesome HP of 180, which means that almost all Pokemon out there can one-hit KO this one, except maybe Terrakion with Retaliate or Magnezone Prime with Lost Burn, so that keeps him pretty safe, which is a good thing. Now let us check out his attacks. Glitting Claw deals 50 damage for a Lightning Energy and a DCE, and then you flip a coin. If heads, you deal an additional 30 damage, which is pretty good because if you run many double Chaos Energies in your deck, you'll be able to deal a maximum of 80 damage on your second turn most of the time, which is a good thing to knock out some weak Pokemon like Dynamos on your opponent's side of the field, or maybe the Rans that don't have EV Light yet. And on the second attack, you deal even more damage. It's called Stronghold, and as the name already says, it's definitely a strong attack. It deals 150 damage for 2 Lightning Energies and a DCE, and the only downside to that attack is that you have to discard 2 energies later on, which means you can either discard 2 Lightning Energies attached to Zekrom EX or simply discard a double Chaos Energy, and then you'll be able to attack for another 150 damage on your next turn if you have another double Chaos Energy available. So this card is really good, and it's definitely a force to be reckoned with. The only bad thing about this card is the retreat cost of 3, but as I already tested out Zekrom EX Eelektrik, it isn't actually that bad if you have 3 switches in your deck, so the retreat cost doesn't actually hurt me that much. And now let's check out Zekrom EX's home. You can find him in Magnezone Electric decks as a secondary attacker, because most Magnezones, if you don't plan on lost burning that many energies for a knockout, you can easily build up a Zekrom EX and be your secondary attacker there. And next we have Zekrom EX's own deck, which is called Zekrom EX Eelektrik, and this deck focuses on getting out 2 Electrics and then power up Zekrom EX in one turn with the help of 2 Dynamotors and 1 DCE, so dealing 150 damage out of nowhere is very powerful indeed, because you'll be able to knock out most cards like Magnezone Primes, Typhlosion Primes, regular high HP basics like Terrakion, Cobalion, Reshiram, Zekrom, and many more, so a Stronghold will be able to get rid of all of those. The only problem is if you're up against other EXs, because those won't be knocked out in one blow. You'll need plus powers to do that, and that's why Absol Prime could be a nice starter in this deck. I run this in my version of Zekrom EX Eelektrik. Just run 1 copy and test it out, because this deck runs on free retreat Dynamos, which means you can get out Absol really easy if you have a Dynamo in the active spot with free retreat. Use Collector and get it out, depending on the situation, because this deck also can dunk, because if you add some Mewtwo EXs in it and it runs double Chaos Energies, you'll be able to dunk when necessary. Aside to that, Absol will leave 2 damage counters on each Pokemon that your opponent benches on the turn that Absol is active, so that's pretty good, because all EXs will have at least 2 damage counters on them, and which means 1 Stronghold and a plus power will knock out most of the EXs, and that's a good thing. If you're up against many EXs, that is, you can easily start with an Absol and take control later on. And Absol also has a resistance to Psychic, which is a good thing against Mewtwo EXs out there. I'll be talking about Mewtwo EX a lot, so usually Mewtwo EX can find his home in this deck as well. It usually runs 2 copies in this deck, because it's a really nice attacker on the first turns of the game, and it runs 3 or 4 double Chaos Energy, so it's pretty good, and it'll really help you out as a fast attacker early on. Other than that, this deck runs usually a trainer line like Catchers, Junk Arms, Switches, Plus Powers, and maybe some Communications, but usually I prefer Level Balls in this deck, because you can get out Eels, what else, Absol and stuff like that with a Level Ball, and maybe you can put in 1 Shaman from Unleash to move energies, because that could do the trick to have your active Zekrom EX powered up once again really fast out of nowhere. And then we have some supporters, the usual stuff like Collector, still strong in this deck, as well as the Sage Training, Juniper to get energies in the discard pile, and maybe some shuffle cards like PONT and N could be very effective in this deck. You can also find my version of this deck in the latest battle video, so check that out if you haven't already. And that's it for this week's deck analysis. Now let's go straight to Poké-News, and let's begin with epic news first. It's about our new set. You mean next Destinies? Hell no, I'm talking about the new upcoming set, which will be released on the 9th of May, so prepare yourself for some dark exploration, because the next set will be called Dark Explorers, and it'll be the English release of most of the Dark Rush cards and some extras, which means we'll be able to get Darkrai EX, Tornadus EX, Raikou EX, Entei EX, Groudon EX, and Kyogre EX, which will be coming out soon, which means many new deck ideas will be available pretty soon. And I'm really looking forward for Raikou EX, as Lightning Pokemon are my favorite type, and yeah, the team decks of this set will be Zoroark and Cofagrigus, so and not anything that special. Maybe the Zoroark could be helpful, so save up some money to get yourself many boosters of that set, because the set will be epic. And yeah, will Mewtwo EX be able to beat the darkness? We'll have to find out when the set is finally released. And that's about it for the trading card game news. But in this episode I'll also be talking about Kyurem's new form, or Kyurem's 2 new forms to be exact. So we all know that Black and White gets a new game. Most people thought that it would be named Pokemon Gray, but that's not the case. Instead they chose the name Black and White 2. How original. So let's check out the new form of Kyurem, or the 2 new forms. As you see, there seem to be some sort of fusion between Zekrom and Kyurem on the left side, and on the right side we see Reshiram fused together with Kyurem. So that's quite exciting to see Pokemon merge like that. It's kind of reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh for some reason, because it's just so similar to see 2 beasts come together to have one new Pokemon. So it's definitely interesting, and hopefully they'll do something special in the trading card game as well to summon a Pokemon like that. And that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. I always appreciate that. And if you have any questions, thoughts, or insanely epic ideas, go to the comment section and let everyone know what's on your mind. And for those of you that haven't subscribed yet, now is your chance. That way you'll stay updated about all the latest details in the Pokemon trading card game. Anyway, this was ZapdosTCG. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day. Until next time.